Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Thursday night presentation. I want to start tonight off by drawing to your attention my background and the word success, and the fact that the second letter really draws what we need to be focused on, you helping another person, and that person helping another person. So once again, welcome. My name is Wayne Wilson. I'm the host for tonight. Our presenter is Mr. Kester Beale. And Mr. Beale, for those of you who don't know him, he is known as Kester Beale. He's a qualified tax consultant with over 30 years experience in that field. He also presently is a DC power engineer with a telecommunications contractor. And his hobby, as you will see tonight, is presenting on the One Academy. So I want to now step out of the way and allow Mr. Beale to share with all of us the information that he's here to do. Kester, are you ready? We are ready for you.
Yes, Wayne, I'm ready. Thank you.
Take it away, sir.
All right. Okay, let's share. Tonight, of course, we are giving you information and education to improve. That hits you right there in your wallet. The information contained herein and dispensed is not designed to be a source of financial information, nor should it be construed as such. One Life is not an investment company. And the images and video material in this presentation are the property of their respective owners. What is money? Money is a store of value. If inflation dwindles your money, anything dwindles your money, then you don't have money. Money stores your value. Money is what you and I agree it is, as a medium of exchange. So, money does not have to be paper. What you and I agree it is. Just go into a schoolyard and watch children bartering for their lunches. They agree on a value and the exchange is made. The medium of exchange would be whatever is in their lunch kits. That is money. Your money is your time and effort. By the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread. When you work, you create value. And in today's world, as we are stepping into cryptocurrency, because it stores your value, once we agree, and your time and effort can be translated into cryptocurrency. So, let's dive into the missing classes. Missing from where? Missing from your education. Linear income. Would you prefer linear income or leverage residual income? Linear income, we are all familiar with. We exchange a unit of time for a unit of money. When you are given your wage, you work for X amount of dollars per hour. If you do not work, you do not get paid, and paid only on your own efforts. Residual income, though, allows you to be paid on the efforts of hundreds, if not thousands of others. You get paid again for the work you did once before. And imagine making money 24/7 even while you sleep. Warren Buffett said it, unless you can make money while you sleep, you will work for the rest of your life. So, as I say, we know linear income. Let's take a little deeper look at leveraged income. I take it we all know the cash flow quadrant: employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. As an employee, you have absolutely no leverage. You multiplied by your job gives you income. So you have a job. As a self-employed person, you now own a job. There is no leverage. So trading your time for money and starting over every single day at zero.
Wow. It seems as though.
I just dropped off and jumped back
Oh, great.
on, so
Great.
right. So you see my slide, right?
Definitely. Go ahead.
So when you are a business owner, all right, great. When you're a business owner, you no longer own a job, you own a system, and people work for you. You are now leveraging their time to make an income, and they fall into the E part of the cash flow quadrant. They are your employees. So their combined effort produces your income, and you give them a portion of that income. All three quadrants, E, S, and B, people work. As an investor, money works for you. You put your finance to work. The great thing about finance is it takes no sick days, it has no casual, no maternity or paternity leave. That's what my upline, Mr. Cadies, always says. So near the top of the slide, you see, I would rather earn 1% off 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. John Paul Getty. And to the bottom of the slide, Robert Kiyosaki says, the main reason why we struggle financially is because we have spent years in school but learned nothing about money. The result is people learn to work for money but never learn to have money work for them. Name one subject you learn in school that you use to earn income, and I mean primary school and secondary school. If you went to a trade school, you might have learned something, but then you'd still be missing the financial part. If your school included the following, you are 1% material. If your school Had a curriculum in finance. What about negotiation? How do you get the best price? How can I negotiate a proper deal? Maybe your school taught you trading, be it stock market, Forex. You are trading, bartering, moving finance, goods, commodities. Did your education include entrepreneurship? Only if you went further and studied these items. What about how to do your own taxes? This is an education for the real world. This is why I'm here. The absence of this in your education leads to inequality on a global scale. Taking this with you, the insane scale of global inequality.
This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. Watch any of their more than 2,000 documentaries for free by visiting curiositystream.com/real-life-lore. Earth is an unequal place. It always has been, and maybe it always will be, but few people are truly aware about the extent of Earth's true inequality. This video is an exploration into the real world and the real reality. Let's begin with the global population of humans in 2019, approximately 7.7 billion people. There also exists approximately 317 trillion US dollars in global wealth across the world. In a perfectly equal world, if all of this wealth was evenly distributed to all 7.7 billion of us, it would mean that everybody, regardless of age, would have $41,169 to their names. But we don't live in a perfectly equal world, so to understand the reality of the situation more, let's shrink all of 0.7 billion people down to only 100 people to better represent everybody, and place them all in a single file line in order of how much money they have. The first staggering thing to notice here is that the first 70 people in this line all have net worths below $10,000. In order to break into the top 50% of people in the world, you only need to have $4,120. The first 70 people in this line are essentially all inside of the global lower class, and they only control 3% of the world's wealth between them. Most of these 70 people are located in places like India, where the average adult net worth is only $7,000, or in Africa, where the average adult net worth is only $4,000. The next 21 people in the line represent the global middle class, with net worths averaging between $10,000 and $100,000. Even still though, these 21 people are underrepresented because they control only about 12% of the global wealth pool. In order to break into the global top 10%, you need to acquire a net worth of $93,170. So moving on, the next 8 people in the line are the first people who could probably be considered to be very well off. These 8 have net worths ranging between $100,000 and $800,000 and would be considered the global upper middle class. Most of these 8 people are found in places like Europe, where the mean average adult has a net worth of $145,000, or 36 times higher than an average African adult. Or in North America, where the mean average adult has a net worth of $404,000. This means average Americans, Canadians, and Europeans are well inside of the global top 10%. Together, these 8 people control 38% of the entire world's wealth. But even they don't have anywhere near as much money as this guy does, the richest person in the group of 100. He represents the top 1% of the global population, and he controls a mind-boggling 47% of the entire world's wealth, or nearly half. In order to break into the global 1%, you need to have a net worth of at least $770,000. No average person in any country on earth is inside of the top 1% club. Inside of the top 1% are approximately 42 million US dollar millionaires who are located across the world, representing 0.6% of the global population. But even further up than that, at the very top echelons of the 1% are the billionaire class. As of 2018, there are 2,208 billionaires across the world, with a combined wealth of 9.1 trillion US dollars. If the wealth of billionaires was measured as a yearly GDP, they would have the third largest economy in the world, ahead of Japan and Germany combined. And the wealth of the billionaire class has been steadily increasing over time. Just 2 years ago in 2017, the billionaire class was worth only $7.67 trillion. And just as recently as 2000, the billionaire class wasn't even worth $1 trillion. At the very top of the billionaire class are 10 individual people, the 10 wealthiest people in the world. The top 8 of these men, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Bernard Arnault, Carlos Slim, Amancio Ortega, Larry Ellison, and Mark Zuckerberg have a combined wealth greater than the bottom 50% of the human population, or 3.85 billion people. What's also interesting, though, is the way that extreme wealth and people tend to congregate in the same few parts of the world. An net worth of $30 million, and most of them, 70% to be exact, live in just these 10 cities across the world: Tokyo, Osaka, Hong Kong, Paris, London, New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Half of these mega concentrations of the world's wealthiest are cities inside of America, which struggles with its own economic inequality problem. In 2017, the net worths of every single household in the United States added together to 94.7 trillion US dollars. If we took this and divided it equally to all 124 million households inside of the country, that would be $760,000 per American family. The reality is obviously much different, though. The bottom 50% of American families average only an $11,000 net worth, while the wealthiest 400 Americans have more money than all of them, or 163 million Americans combined. In order to break into the top 1% of Americans, you need to have a net worth of at least $. And in this country, the top 1% of Americans control roughly 38% of the country's wealth. While considering the 1% at the global scale control more like 47% of the wealth, the United States is actually doing better at economic equality than the world average is. But if you want to see what the worst country in the world for economic equality is like, you needn't look any further than South Africa, labeled by the World Bank as the most unequal country on earth. Here, the bottom 60% of the country controls only 7% of the nation's wealth, which is actually a little better than the global averages. But the top 1% of South Africans control an overwhelming 70% of the entire nation's wealth, which is much more severe than the global average. The country where the wealthiest 1% control the least amount of the nation's wealth is Norway, where the top 1% only control 21% of the country's total wealth. While the distribution of money may be pretty unequal in the world, the distribution of knowledge doesn't have to be. You just watched through probably 6 or 7 minutes of me explaining some realities about our society. So why not continue your learning about society, or anything else really for that matter, for free by going and checking out Curiosity's stream next.
So there you have it. The worst individual country on the planet is South Africa, where 1%, the 1% controls 70% of the nation's wealth. The bottom line, as the narrator said near the end of the video, is continue your education. He sent you one place. I'm sending you to the place. But we'll get to that soon. So we're looking at, in 2019, the billionaires held 9.1 trillion. 2 years before, in 2017, there were almost $2 trillion poorer at 7.6 trillion. And in the year 2000, combined, they did not hold $1 trillion. And if they were held together as a country, they would have the highest GDP. What did they learn in school that you didn't? This thing called money, properly known as fiat currency, because fiat means by decree it is so. A government decrees that this shall be the legal tender, and it becomes so. In the past, way back in the past, when we had a double coincidence of wants, that is, like the children in the yard ready to have lunch in school, you have what I want and I have exactly what you want. It's a double coincidence of wants. We would exchange. We would barter. And here's a secret about barter. Because you agree that what you exchange is of sufficiently equal value to what you received, no taxes. A profit was not made either side. We decided to exchange. So that double coincidence of wants, and that's why you don't learn it in school, would tend to keep you away from taxation legally. So we can all exchange. So I'm here to tell you there is something called digital bartering. Hold on, we'll get there. Commodities. Commodities we use as money at some point in time. The most famous of these commodities, of course, was gold. Gold coins, doubloons, pieces of 8. Different metals, along with other commodities, was used as money. As I said, money is what we agree it is. It has value to someone, and you have, and they have what you want as well, the double coincidence of want. We use them as money because they are. The value is stored. Inflation is not going to touch it. So from commodities, as I said, straight to metal coins. For metal coins, we came to fiat currency, also known as paper money, created by the Song dynasty. At that time, your currency had an expiration date of 3 months. After 3 months, you had to take it back to the emperor to renew it. And that's when you were taxed. So, you cannot tax a double coincidence of once. You could tax coins once the government produces it. It can be taxed. And so paper money was born for us to be taxed. This is literally paper money. The $20 with Andrew Jackson's face on it. And having Andrew Jackson's face is an insult, but we won't go there. This was money because it is a gold certificate. If you look carefully, you'll see gold certificate. It was backed up by real gold. If you look also carefully below the word $20 in that red box, it says $20 in gold coin payable to the bearer on demand. So inflation could not touch this money. And then came fiat currency, no longer a gold certificate. Just print, backed by nothing. Before this point, everything was backed by something. With a double coincidence of one, I was able to see your goods, or at least be able to trust the quality of your goods and the exchange. After fiat currency, we know about the plastic cards. There are many people, even today, who don't really like the card. Quite a number of them have been forced into using the card. Times are changing once again. Step out of the plastic card and step into moving electrons on a computer screen. Cryptocurrency. So that basically was the evolution of money and how we got to this point. What can lots of fiat currency do for you? It would get you some packages of the best cryptocurrency on the planet, built for regulation, not for speculation. And what else can lots of fiat currency do for you? We can have you invited to the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum already had their meeting in Davos in Switzerland for this year, February, coincidentally before the lockdown. Wonder what some of the conversations were about. Because they are public and private rooms. So governments send representatives, and there are people who are invited. The World Economic Forum was founded in 1971. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, that's because you don't have sufficient currency. And it's an NGO based in Cologne, Geneva, Switzerland. The mission is cited as committed to improving the state of the world by engaging business, political, academic, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. If you didn't hear your name called there, well, neither did I. The World Economic Forum is a membership-based organization, and its membership is made up of the world's largest corporations. The WF hosts an annual meeting since 1971, an annual meeting at the end of January in Davos, a mountain resort in Graubünden in the Eastern Alps region of Switzerland. The meeting brings together some 3,000 business leaders, international political leaders, economists, celebrities, and journalists for up to 5 days to discuss global issues across 500 public and private sessions. Across 500 public and private sessions. The organization also convenes some 6 to 8 regional meetings each year in locations across Africa, East Asia, Latin America, and India, and holds 2 further annual meetings in China and the United Arab Emirates. Besides meetings, the organization provides a platform for leaders from all stakeholder groups from around the world, business, government, and civil society, to collaborate on multiple projects and initiatives. It also produces a series of reports and engages its members in sector-specific initiatives. I was hoping to find my name by the time I got to the end of it. What was of concern at Davos? What was the direction since 1971? One thing for sure, in some of the public documents, they speak about automation. So I'll play in part.
For the last 2-3 centuries, there is always this fear the machines are taking over.
I don't think anyone can irresponsibly say, oh, don't worry, nothing will happen to jobs.
This time it might be true.
The world's people say they're not overly anxious about technology. They are deeply, deeply anxious about their jobs.
AI will impact jobs, but we don't know what's going to come. We don't even know what new inventions are going to be.
To reinvent yourself when you're 20, it's difficult, but you do it. To do it again at 30, at 40, at 50, that's...
What are we left to do then? It's easy to imagine the predicted 66 million people poised to lose their jobs to machines, muttering the same refrain. The OECD, the intergovernmental organization that came up with that figure, estimates that 14% of jobs could be automated in industrialized countries. And though machines are most immediately coming after manufacturing and agricultural jobs, even work requiring more specialized skills could increasingly fall to automation. Goldman Sachs' chief financial officer reported that their US cash equities trading desk employed some 600 traders back in 2000. All but 2 of those positions had become automated by 2017.
Employed 600 traders. Now there are 2, because the other 598 have become redundant because of electronic AI robots. The volume of trades that are entered, it was a given that all trades would not be entered by humans. Robots, of course, have changed that. So will you lose your job to automation? This is what the rate of automation looks like. In 2018, the workforce was 71% human and 29% machine. Coming out of the 3rd industrial revolution, and now stepping into the 4th. Many of these people were in some of the machines until robots became large scale. By 2022, in the next 2 years, that 71% of humans is going to fall to 58%. And the robots, the machines, are going to have 42% of the jobs. And by 2025, 5 years from now, the machines will have taken half the jobs, the workforce. So as the gentleman was saying, to retool yourself and relearn when you are 20 might be a little difficult, but you can do it. To do it at 30, and then 40, and then 50, especially, I'm not talking about different people at different ages, I'm talking about one person, because the machine, so the same person retooling themselves at 20 has to turn around and retool themselves again when they are 30, and then again when they are 40, high levels of stress. With high levels of stress come increased mortality rates. I'm just thinking about COVID-19, if that mortality rate will be surpassed. So what the experts say, one thing's for sure, we are going to need new skills. Study after study shows that while technology will alter many roles directly, it's also set to have indirect effects. As demand for mathematics, computing, and data analysis grows, so too will the need for human attributes like creativity, critical thinking, persuasion, and negotiation. Rats, why didn't I get that in school? But it's not just workers who need to worry about upgrading their skills. Companies too, you know, quite a few of them have gone out of business during this lockdown. Companies too are seeking out ways to appeal to a new generation of workers. Millennials and Generation Z will be the majority of the workforce in 2020. And they're already reshaping the relationship between the employer and employee. Younger workers are looking for more decentralized environments where they can decide how work gets done. If the research is right and twice as many new jobs are about to emerge than were lost to disruption, then how worried should we really be? And how much can we say we know about the coming age of technological employment? It's true that technological change is happening faster than before. I left out the graphic on that. Education technology itself is exploding and expected to reach 342 billion in 2025. So, learn from home, work from home. That was the mantra during COVID-19. And again, I wonder, what was the gist of that meeting in Davos in February 2020? Creating a playful learning environment with technology can tap into children's natural ability to learn through play and develop the rapid learning skills essential today. Wonder if we have gotten to that point in the Caribbean as yet, lagging behind. Education systems around the world will need to evolve. Unfortunately, many, including here in the Caribbean, education systems remain outdated, designed for all industry models and societies of the past. Well, at least now we can learn from home. And the combination of AI, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing will help solve the world's problems. So says the global 1%. The biggest risk will be failing to grasp its potential for good. Potential and kinetic are two different things. We will need quantum encryption to keep data secure. The World Economic Forum has launched, past tense, an initiative to provide 1 billion people with better education. Is that statement indicative of the education we have now? Provide 1 billion people in a world with 7.7 billion people with better education, skills, and jobs by 2030. Can't stop thinking about that better education statement. They have been meeting since 1971. So now we're hearing about better education. The fourth industrial revolution is expected to transform 1/3 of all jobs in the next decade. How do we build more social cohesion? How do we ensure that people have pathways to social mobility? One of the most important ways to do that is to ensure that people have the right education. Yeah. The right skills and the right jobs. The fourth industrial revolution is expected to transform more than 1 billion jobs, almost 1/3 of all jobs worldwide in the next decade. Better education, the right education. What did you learn? Or rather, what did the ultra wealthy learn that you didn't? That I didn't? That I am now learning? We have had a number of historical warnings by persons long ago that we never paid attention to. course, my favorite is John Maynard Keynes, but I don't have Keynes here. Let's start with Aristotle. The most hated sort of money maker, a person he's talking about, and with the greatest reason is usury, that is lending at interest. And with the greatest reason is usury, which makes a gain out of money itself and not from the natural object of it. For money was intended to be used in exchange, but not to increase at interest. And this term interest, which means the birth of money for money, is applied to the breeding of money because the offspring resembles the parent. Wherefore of modes of getting wealth, this is the most unnatural. Now, we go to Henry Ford, make of the Model T Ford. It is well enough that people of the nation would understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. So, Sir Josiah Stamp, the Bank of England. Banking was conceived in iniquity and born in sin. Where did these gentlemen get this education? I never heard this in school. What kind of education are we actually getting? What kind of education should we give? We need to empower the youth. We need to move away from the education we were given back then, as they say in Davos, better education. But there was one error in what I said. We don't need to move away. We already have moved away in our One Academy. Notice there's a button that says comics. On our website, we have comics for children, financial education from 5 to 12 years old, free. No fee, free. Or are we going to sit and wait on the guys from Davos to educate our children? To educate ourselves? Why don't we retool now? Part of education has to be charity. Teach your child to give. So together with our One Academy, our education flagship, we also have the One World Foundation, covering a broad range of financial topics, including trading, the stock exchange, cryptocurrency, financial analysis, asset management, and more. You can get any of those in school. Our mission is to provide our students with the guidance and educational materials they need to achieve financial literacy. Our 6-level program, developed by finance experts and academics, is highly structured and easy to understand. You learn at your own pace and can be part of the future of global finance. Our One World Foundation's mission is to encourage accessible education for children and young people worldwide by supporting projects and ensuring a safe and relaxing learning environment to motivate them to develop and expand their knowledge and skills through the creation of educational facilities. to improve the quality of learning and education using the modern internet technologies and innovative teaching approaches. Our aim is to empower the youngsters to learn about today's world and be cool. In the era of globalization, by facilitating their education in becoming successful global citizens. By providing opportunities to learn how to use the modern technologies, we encourage them to take full control of their lives. I wonder if that song for anyone's school. One Academy motto: learn today, lead tomorrow. I urge you to get back to the person who considered you so much to bring you on this call. And I challenge you to click that Start Now button when you get involved. Here's what you do know. You are sure next year the rate of inflation will increase. You learn that at home. You need to go to school for that one. The gap between the rich and poor will widen. Your taxes will be under tighter scrutiny. In Trinidad, we have had a number of amnesties to bring your taxes up to scratch, your business documents up to scratch. I have suspicions as to what is going on. I wonder where else in the world finds this phenomenon at this point in time. You are sure your children will not get increased levels of financial education in school. Davos is only interested in retooling them for the new economy. Properly understanding financial topics was not mentioned there. The children of the affluent will not attend the same schools as your children. This we know for sure. Recycle your generations. Remember the encyclopedia salesman? Well, if you're old enough, the encyclopedia did not directly provide financial knowledge. So it took your finance to be able to acquire it without giving you the ability to replace those finances. You had to figure out how to replace those finances yourself. So the encyclopedia in the past was designed to keep your mentality in school. We, the One Life Network IMAs, are here to provide you with a solution to cease the cycle of poverty. Recycle your generations. You deserve to have your picture on the wall of your children's establishment. If we were working from home, it might be in your own home. The Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney is a series of 10 videos. I encourage you check it out. His first video tells you your true wealth is your time and your freedom. Money is just a tool for trading your time, a simple tool. In fact, that should be currency. It's a container to store your economic energy until you are ready to deploy it. That is money. The whole world has been turned away from real money and been fooled into using currency. Welcome to the rabbit hole. I challenge you to also check out fractional reserve banking. Use your own time and find out about fractional reserve banking, quantitative easing, and what it does for your time and your freedom. The financial sector is engineered confusion. It was made this way. Quantitative easing, or QE, refers to the type of monetary policy in which a central bank purchases a pre-evaluated amount of government bonds and such other financial assets for the purpose of directly injecting liquidity into the economy, and hence it is also termed as large-scale asset purchase. The bonds might be from the government, or it may be bonds that people have surrendered. Where does the central bank get its money from? You have to be curious. You have to step up, not for yourself, but for your children, your nieces, your nephews, and the young ones about you. What kind of world are we leaving for them? As a Native American would say, you did not, and you will not leave this world as a legacy for your children. In fact, you borrowed it from them. You need to give them it better than you found it. Quantitative easing. So, if you get the chance, because of all the different shenanigans on this planet right now, if you get the chance and you can be taken to a better world because you have found that Earth has gone mad, then don't pass for me. I'll be in the One Academy, fixing this one, because it can be repaired. Again, I urge you to get back to the person who considered you enough to bring you to something that can change your life, the life of your children and their children. The person who invited you on this call did not invite you. Your finances borrowed from your children and their children. You owe it to them. With that, I hand back over to my able-bodied host, Mr. Wayne Wilson. Wayne?
I am here, Kester. Incredible, incredible. Thanks for sharing. And we are definitely at that 9 o'clock hour. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. I know the information shared will have not only enlightened, but cause some people to go and do some further digging into quantitative easing and fractional reserve lending. So once again, I also want to, before we close off tonight, to remind everyone tomorrow to get onto that special call we have. The information is in the chat, or the person that invited you onto this call tonight at 9 a.m. Trinidad and Tobago time tomorrow, to really further explore and explode as far as the information is going to inject into your lives to help you to, once again, as I have behind me tonight, the word success, and the second letter, you know, is really up to you. So thanks for coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night. See all IMAs and their guests tomorrow. Guys, get up early, get in gear, and let's share. Thank you for coming on. Good night.